Welcome, everybody, to Season 4, Episode 6 of the weekly quantum world Detangled. I am joined by my friends and sponsor, Denise Ruffner by IonQ.
Hi, everyone. Denise Ruffner from IonQ, coming to you from Southern California, where it's nice and warm and sunny. And very happy to have our guest today, Lizzie Baggett from IonQ. And Lizzie, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Lizzie Baggett. I'm a summer intern at IonQ, also going to be a rising senior in high school.
Lizzie, great to have you. Why are you doing a summer internship at the quantum computing company? Aren't you supposed to be out and about enjoying summer?
I think I was just really interested in quantum computing, and that interest, I guess, trumps my want to do fun summer things all the time.
Well, let's talk about that for a minute. We always try to get to know our guests a little bit. What would you be doing for fun if not quantum computing? Share a little bit about your personal story. Where were you born? Where were you raised? Where do you go to school? And what do you do for fun?
So I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, but I moved when I was 3, so I don't remember much of it, to Potomac, Maryland. And for fun, I like to play field hockey and do track. So I think if I wasn't working, I would just be doing a lot of practice and running, stuff like that. Also, hanging out with my friends, always super fun.
I did notice that you started some sort of running club for kids during COVID. Is that right?
Yeah. So during the pandemic, I had nothing to do, and I felt like I should dedicate my time to other people. So I started this charity running camp where I taught local neighborhood kids just some running strategies. And my friends laughed at me because they thought, why do you need to teach someone how to run? Because it's kind of a natural thing. But it was mostly just games and different workouts they could do.
A running strategy, never heard that before. I might need your help as well. What do your friends say when you tell them about quantum computing? It is spooky, as Einstein said, right? And a little weird in the best of cases. But how do you explain what you do to your friends, and what's their kind of reaction?
Most of my friends aren't actually interested in STEM. My closest friends they want to be lawyers, or one of them is really into fashion. So explaining it to them, I normally try to explain what a classical computer does and how that works first. And then I try to introduce the quantum aspects. When I explained it to my mom, there's an IBM video that talked about flipping a coin. And it's heads or tails, but then also you could spin it.
I use spinning donuts,
state.
which is maybe a little more relatable to me, but I also don't know what running strategies are. So that is just my personal preference. And you're now doing your internship at IonQ. We'll talk about that in a second. But do you see yourself making a career in quantum? Do you have plans for what's coming in the next few years?
I definitely think this internship has kind of solidified my want to do quantum in the future. I've gotten to see all different types of physicists and engineers, and it's just always been very exciting to me. And I definitely want a career that I'm excited by. So I do think that I will pursue it.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Let's hear a little bit more about what you do at IonQ and in quantum. It's great to get the different perspectives. So certainly curious to see it through your eyes. Denise, over to you.
Thanks, André. So Lizzie, first of all, let's provide some context. I think IonQ has under 10 interns, and I believe you're the only person from high school. So how did you do it? Because I know it was really competitive to get in.
Yeah, I just sent over my resume and I said, could I possibly have an internship here. And at first they actually said, we don't hire high schoolers. So they said no. But I think I was persistent and kind of bold in what I was doing, since it was a crazy ask, but my persistence kind of got me the job, because they emailed later and said, like, we'll set up this interview. So
That's
there's a
great.
chance.
That's great. And so you interviewed and you passed the interview. And how long is your internship? Is it based on your schedule and how much free time you have over the summer?
Kind of. So I thought it would be difficult to do my internship and school at the same time. So it's based around that. Like, I didn't want to start my internship while I was still finishing up school and exams. So it started once school ended, and it's going to end once my school starts. So it'll be about 2 months, and I'm doing 40 hours a week.
And so tell us and tell the audience what an INQ intern does, or tell us about it, and let's hear more.
So I'm on the business development team, and my project throughout the summer is to write white papers on certain quantum terms. But IonQ, I think it's a perfect size company, and everyone's super friendly, that I've really been able to explore everything. I've gotten to go with some experimental physicists and see what they do, and also help out the chop design people and go to theory Zoom. So I really can get the most of this internship just by seeing what everyone does and learning from all of the people here.
That's great. And I think you went into the clean room.
Yeah, it was really cool. I had to put on this huge suit so they could only see my eyes, because they don't want any outside things inside there. But it was really cool. It was a great experience. And I got to see all the machines that you don't really think about so much, but they're very important for creating the ion chips.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so I think what you've been talking about is you have the ability to work with different scientists and different teams and spend the day with them and experience what a theoretical physicist does, or what a trap designer does. And so I think today you're going to spend some time with engineers.
Yeah, so I'm shadowing 2 mechanical engineers, and engineering and physics have always been 2 very interesting things to me. And when I apply to college, I'm kind of deciding right now which one I want to apply for as a major. So it's a really great experience to see what a mechanical engineer does in a day.
That's great. That's great. And what do you think about the business side of things? How have you liked that?
I think it's really interesting to see how thorough everything is and how strategic like every call is. And I think the business side is very strategic, much more than I had initially thought, that every call is planned, and it really shows you how much thought goes into everything. It's very thorough, which I like.
That's great. And have you met the founders of IonQ?
Yeah, I get to do a weekly application meeting with Junseng Kim, and I see Chris Monroe just around the office, which is really cool. He's done a lot in quantum.
Yeah, that's fun. And I'm trying to think what other scientists you've seen. Have you seen the first IonQ device and been through the through the tour of?
Yeah, I actually got a tour. I've seen all of the computers now, which is super cool. I mean, they look like boxes with lots of wires. Like, it's not like a classical computer, but it's super cool. And it's really great to be able to see the evolution of all of the computers.
So Lizzie, I do have one more question for you. And what do you think about women in quantum, and about women's roles in physics and in STEM type pursuits?
I think Women in Quantum is such a great organization because it creates a great community of people that really don't get to see each other often, since there's just so many more men in quantum in any physics field than women. And I think it's really great to have organizations like that, since women are often told they can't do physics and that they shouldn't do STEM at all. And if they do STEM, that they should try to do biology or become a nurse or something. But if you're really interested in physics, you should be able to do physics and feel like you're just as important as everyone else.
Actually, your comment reminds me of a conversation we had yesterday about one of our colleagues who you mentioned to me. She was told basically throughout her education that women don't become physicists, and she's maybe you could tell us, don't mention names, but tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so she isn't from the US. She's from a more, I'd say, traditional country. And I mean, this still happens in the US, but she was always told that she shouldn't be a physicist and she shouldn't do STEM because she's a girl and she wouldn't be good at it. She wouldn't like it. And I mean, she's got her PhD in physics now. She's doing great and she's super smart. She was capable of it. And it's really great she was able to push through all of it, but it's really upsetting that she had to deal with all of it from her own family members.
Yeah, I think like a traditional role for women is never thought. For some reason, STEM isn't thought of, and I think that women bring a very fresh perspective to STEM or to anything, and that inclusion and diversity is very important, I think, overall.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Love having you as an intern, and I really am excited about you being at INQ. So thank you for your dedication this summer, because it's really great to have you. And I look forward to seeing more of what you do. And maybe, who knows, you'll come back next year.
All right, thank you, Lizzie. Great to learn a little bit more about your internship at INQ. To wrap up, we have our famous Marcel Bruce, James Lipton quantum questionnaire, 6 rapid fire questions. It's not a score test, as you asked earlier. So just answer from your heart and with your soul, and just hoping to get to know your opinions and perspectives a little bit better. So if you're ready, the first question: who is your favorite scientist, if you have one?
I think my favorite scientist is Marie Curie, since she's so inspirational for being one of the first women in STEM. I mean, it's a very important issue for me. She was such a pioneer and she was brilliant.
And since you're doing an internship at one of the most famous quantum tech startups, do you have a favorite entrepreneur?
I think this is kind of a cheesy answer, but my favorite entrepreneur is probably my dad. He's done many startups, and I think it's just so inspiring how hard he works. And I'm definitely biased just because I get to see how hard he works all the time and how much effort he puts into everything he does, which is pretty inspiring to see.
Entrepreneurship is a grind, and my next question was, what is the quality that you desire most in an entrepreneur? I think you just answered that. Is there anything that you would add? And what is the quality that you think makes a good scientist?
I think one very underrated quality in both of those is your ability to connect with people and be personable. Definitely for an entrepreneur, you have to talk to a lot of people to get your business started. But even for a scientist, I think it's really a great trait to be able to talk to anyone. And I know there can be a lot of scientists that think they're better than people and they act like it all the time, which I think just kind of, you don't want to be as proud of them for what they do if they're just acting like a jerk.
I will replay that excerpt many, many times for sure. Working in quantum tech is fascinating, as you said. What is it about quantum that is so interesting to you?
I think it's definitely the future, which is very interesting to me. And I also am just very fascinated by a lot of theoretical physics. Quantum mechanics has always been very interesting to me. So the application of it to create something useful that can change the world and solve some of the hardest problems is very exciting.
Do you have a favorite application for quantum? And it could be within quantum computing, but beyond?
I'm not sure. I think I'm very interested in quantum error correction just because that'll speed things up and getting quantum advantage.
Asked differently, do you have a quantum dream? Thinking about the future?
I think accessible quantum computers for everyone would be great.
And the flip side, a quantum nightmare?
I guess the quantum nightmare would be that it never works out and people give up on them.
So hoping that will not happen, and tomorrow you wake up, walk into your living room, and there stands a perfectly fault-tolerant universal quantum computer from IonQ, of course. It's the only one in the world, and it's yours. Who would you give it to?
I don't know. I think most of my friends and family would not know what to do with it. So I guess I would keep it. Is that an option?
That is an option.
Does that make me selfish?
If you have a good use for it.
And I think I'd have to give it to maybe some, maybe I would give it to a medical company and they could come up with good use for it.
Good.
seems
Whatever
really generous.
light you're sitting under right now is reflecting like a halo over you on the whiteboard. So I'm confident you'd make a good choice in handing out that one universal quantum computer. Lizzie, it was a pleasure to get to know you and learn a little bit about your views and first steps in quantum technologies. Thank you, Denise, for setting this up. Thank you, IonQ, for your support. This concludes Season 4, Episode 6 of the Weekly Quantum World Detangled. You are now detangled.
It was so nice to talk to you guys. Thank you for having me.